I know. There we go. But I wanna. All right. 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 Pull that up. What up? What up? What up? Welcome on in. Welcome on in. Oh my god. Keep it pretty basic today. And then, as going forward, I will be making live streams, basically talking about specific cards and when to play them and when not to play them. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. These are more to come. I'm super excited. I'm super interested to see what's to come. I love that watermelon. Alright. Let me get on my phone. That way I can kind of keep track of chat. I mean, I can see chat here, but it doesn't tell me anything else. Statistics and all that good stuff, you know? Statistics and schnit, right? Like for a couple more minutes. And then we'll kind of go from there. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited to be going through this with you guys. I'm excited to be doing this with you guys. All right. We're gonna go ahead and go through with this, all right? We're gonna try to explain everything the best to my ability. But I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty confident that I'm gonna be able to explain this to a certain T. That way everybody can kind of understand, right? So my name is DeltronZ. If you are new to this channel, or if you've been to this channel before, you kind of know that DeltronZ is more local to San Antonio than anything else. When it comes to collecting, collecting TMNT, strictly TMNT. I love TMNT. I will get my hands on anything that's TMNT. I did have a collection, and when I say that I did, I just recently actually sold it because, you know, figure collecting, you know, it's either for you or it's not. It was for me for a while, but I just didn't get like that satisfaction that I needed when it came to my collection, so I just recently sold it. But what kind of did the turning point on that selling point is, I mean, I've been thinking about for months to getting rid of my collection. But really was the turning point was this game. This Universus game. This is their official mat, Defenders of New York, Turtle Power. You know, the Ninja Turtles is near and dear to us as a community, to me, myself, as a person. And I can't get enough of TMNT, even the newest versions. Like, there's a lot of people that just didn't like it. I personally like the newer film. I personally like the new spin. I like the nostalgia. I love everything about it. And I kind of want to continue to be able to show people that, right? But with my collection, I can't really show people my collection. Can I show you photos? Can I show you the things that I have? Sure, but there's really no, like, satisfaction because I wish that I could just bring my collection with me and show people how much I actually love Ninja Turtles and the passion behind it. That's what this game does. So because it is a TCG game, because you do have to collect, because you do have to open packs, sometimes, as we know, card games can get expensive. However, depending on how you budget your money and the type that you want to be able to put into a card game, you know, you can figure out whether it's for you or not. Now, starting packs go for about $14.99. Okay, $14.99 is for a starter deck. Now, keep in mind that's exactly what it is, a starter deck. So it's not going to be top tier. You can buy some packs to kind of add to it and build off of it. That's what I've kind of done at this point in time. I'm still fairly new as in the community. As a player, yes, I'm still new, but I have learned significant amount to where I feel like I can start teaching people, and I wanted to do this online. I wanted to kind of do this going forward, maybe doing it maybe once a month where I kind of go over the rules over and over. I mean, this game, within the short amount of time that I've already been into it, has changed certain aspects of my life, like my anxiety is down. Um, my critical thinking is on top. Like my brain is constantly working. It's there's a lot of positives that has come out of this card game. But again, I got to give it to TMNT, Nickelodeon, because those are the people who allowed this game to have its IP for cards. So this game, Universus, has been out since 2006. It has significantly shifted. It has changed its name, all types of stuff, right? So I wanted to kind of bring this to you guys and be able to see why this game is such a banger to be able to pick up. So I want you to think about a actual fighting game. So let's take, I don't know, Injustice 2 as an example. You have low attacks, you have high attacks, and you have mid attacks, right? And then you can end up doing combos in those types of situations depending on how you're going to end up playing it, right? There's cards to be able to shift, or I'm sorry, in the game, you can kind of do combos where it goes low, mid, high, or if it goes high, high, mid, or it goes low, low, or mid, mid, high, low, however you want to be able to play it, right? And then you get that combo, and in succession, what happens? You do a significant amount of damage, because that's what combos are. Combos are supposed to be able to help you do additional damage to get your player down to 0 or to kill your player. So it's very similar to that, but in cards. So when you look at your cards, you have your character. So of course, we all know when it comes to the character that you choose in your video game, that's the character that you want to be able to play. In this case, my character in this specific situation is going to be Leonardo, okay? So Leo actually has a little number over here off to the side, and it's a 6. And it looks like cards. Well, guess what? That's your hand size each and every time it's your turn. So you draw up to, in this case, 6. If it said 4, if it had 2, if it had 10, you would draw your hand size to that number that looks like cards up on the right hand middle side. Okay? Right below that, that's going to be a heart. Now, different cards, sometimes, generally they're placed in the same exact position. However, there are cards where I kind of see them a little bit lower, maybe a little bit higher, but they will never be on the top left or the top right. It's just going to be in this general vicinity. But in this case, mine has a number of 31, okay? Now, this is a rare card. This is actually the third rarest card that they have from this specific character. So again, we have 31. He is named Leonardo the Leader, Champion, and Mutant. Now, his responses, it just depends, right? So those are like abilities, right? So we'll kind of go into that later. But then you have cards to be able to spend in order to make sure that your attacks go through. So what generally does a character need in order to continue a combo? Stamina. So usually you can sit there and say that a fighting game doesn't have stamina, but it does, because the stamina is based upon how long the combo is, right? So if there is a 5-button combo, that's your stamina. That's 5. That would make complete and utter sense, okay? If a combo was 7 buttons, that's your stamina, because after that, you can't continue it, right? So that's how I see stamina when it comes into video games. And I'm a big fighting game entrepreneur, right? I love them fighting games. I significantly got into Injustice 2, especially because the Ninja Turtles came out. But when I joined, I was doing ranked a lot. I was Flash. But not, not trying to get too deep into it. But what I will say is, one more time, is that it's a fighting game. So I reference that to here. So here you have foundations. Now, foundations are going to be mainly in like a gray, right? So they're going to look kind of gray. I don't know how close I can get it. They're going to look kind of gray. You see the red. You see the blue, right? It's mainly, it looks, all this area down here, oh, I'm sorry, down here is going to be your indicator. That, on top of all that, on the bottom right, it actually says in small letters, foundation. Okay? So, those are going to be your foundations. So that's your stamina in a specific type of way. Once you run out of foundations, then you can't play original cards. So that's how it goes. Now, what about attacks? Okay, well, I got you. So when it comes to attacks, this card is called Freaking Out, okay? Looks kind of silly, looks kind of funny. It's called Freaking Out. I'm trying to get this camera thing a little bit more used to it. But then you have an attack right over here, right? So you have an attack low of 4 and a damage of 5. Okay, so it's an attack low, 4 low, 4 damage. Okay, that's what you'll be looking on. And of course, it has an ability that might be able to increase its value when it comes to damage. And we'll talk about that a little bit later on. Now, when you read the official rules, you can mix and match these cards however you want to. But the official rules state, not word for word, but I'm going to paraphrase it for you. The algorithm for these decks are about a 70-30 split. 70% are foundations, assets, there's cards called assets, backups, okay, and character cards, okay, depending on what the cards go by, okay? So 70% of the deck is gonna be that. The more foundations you have, the more that you're gonna be able to play cards going forward. And then you have your attack cards, your damage cards. Now that's gonna be that 30%, okay? So I did the math. A deck size can be the least of 60 cards, but maximum recorded history since the game has started has been 3,000 in a tournament. That's nuts. And in a tournament setting, somebody had 3,000 cards. Nuts. Anyways. So, with that being said, with 60 cards, 70-30 split, you're probably looking anywhere between maybe like 20, maybe like anywhere between 15 and 20. I'm guessing 70 or 20 attack cards, and then you're also looking at about 40, yeah, 40 to 45 foundations, assets, backups, and character card. Okay, that's what you'll be looking at. So one more time, up to 40 to 45 foundation, asset, backups, ally cards. Did I say ally? No, those are backups. I'm sorry. Backups or character cards. So one more time, 40 to 45 foundation, asset, backup, and character cards in your deck. Okay, so that's the algorithm that they have on their official website. That's what you should generally might be playing. That way you can kind of have an even amount of attack cards and then the right amount foundation to continue to play the game, right? To continue to play attacks. But then there's certain other cards that might be able to come into effect. So again, we kind of go back into those other types of cards, right? So we got the attack card done. We got the character card done. We got the foundation card. We talked about foundations, right? And then we have assets. Now, assets are going to be cards that are mainly in green, okay? I don't know if you can see that, but you can kind of see like the green tint around the name, the green tint at the bottom. So asset, and not only that, on the bottom right card, on the right it says asset. So it kind of gives you that indicator. Now, asset cards, you cannot use the cards to be able to block. You cannot use the cards to be able to count towards certain things, right? So it's just kind of one of those things. It only works in certain circumstances depending on what the asset is, okay? But if we go further into it, and we talked about foundations, right? We talked about foundations. So what we would be talking about next is going to be like backup cards. So backup cards are like, think of like your sidekick. Okay, you got Batman and Robin, right? You got Superman and Crypto, you know, or Superman and Superboy, or however you want to do it, Flash and Kid Flash, right? So like in this case, I have Leonardo, so my backup would be Splinter. So he has a little bit of a health bar right there, okay? It's a retro. I'm getting sick and tired of this camera BS. Just wish I had a regular camera. Anyways, so he has a health of 3. So which means is if you successfully play him, you now have a backup character that does certain things in the background in case you wanted to use it throughout the game. Your opponent can attack a backup, and if it decides to destroy a backup, then it goes into the discard pile. Okay? But there's ways that you can play backup characters to your benefit. But again, it's an extra character that can be a distraction for your opponent. Okay? So those are pretty much the gist of the card types. Now, when we get into the actual game itself, we got to play these card types in a specific type of way, right? So I'll kind of paint a visual of what your stage is going to look like, your area, okay? So the top part, you know, on a regular play mat, when it comes to Universus, you're going to have like hearts up here if you wanted the official play mat. So it kind of gives you like life and shit. And then you have your card pool, and your card pool consists of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 little individualized squares that you can play up here. Okay? Your stage is going to be this square right here. Okay? This little square right here. I guess I wish I had an official playmat, but I don't. I got something better. But anyways, you can visualize. So one more time, card pool and health up here. Then you have your stage where you put your assets, your foundations, and your backups. All right here. Okay? And then over here, you have your character card. Okay? That's where your character card is going to end up going. And then as far as your deck goes, now officially, and I don't know why, don't ask me because I didn't create the game. It does not feel normal to me, but your deck is up here. So then whenever you mill a card or you discard a card, you then flip upside and put it down here. This is your discard pile. This is your deck pile. But it doesn't matter. Honestly, it doesn't. As long as your opponent doesn't care on how you're playing it, you can go to traditional style. So for traditional style, that's me right here. Upside down deck. That way, whenever I pull, it's really easy, however you want to be able to play it. And then if I needed to mill, it's already here. I mill, it goes right there, right? That's my traditional style. And not only that, my opponent can see what I'm milling, which I'm discarding, which I'm going into the discard pile instead of having to try to peek on over, okay? So that's pretty much the stage. So real briefly, one more time, your health is usually up here, okay? Or you can have the app. We'll talk about the app in a little bit. So you'll have that up here. You have the card pool. You have the stage. You have your deck. You have your discard pile. Then you have your character card. Everything is supposed to be able to fit into this little card pool area. Kind of sucks. Not a lot of room. It depends on what mat you're going to be playing with and how much room you actually have. So just kind of throwing that out there. So that would technically be the setup, right? Now, whenever you start the right before you start the game, you want to kind of be able to determine exactly who's going first, what character they're gonna be playing, what's their strat, right? What are they gonna be kind of playing in order to, and choosing your character is everything. Like choosing your character is everything. Like when I chose Leonardo, I didn't have a lot of options to kind of go by, right? I just kind of went by with what I had. So Leonardo just kept popping up and popping up. Usually whenever a card keeps popping up and popping up, I like to take that as a sign, right? Sorry. I want to take that as a sign that that's what I'm supposed to start Okay, so it was Leonardo for me. Now, for Leonardo, there's something called responses. You have certain steps. You have responses, you have enhances, you have blitz, you have EX, you have a couple of extras to be able to understand. But the most important thing is understanding on how your character plays, right? On how you're going to be able to play that specific character. And for me, just by kind of reading everything about the character, it just kind of gives me an insight on what I should be playing, how I should be playing it. And let's just kind of read it a little bit, right? So if you read it a little bit, his is called a response. Okay, so a response, just to kind of clarify a response can happen anytime throughout the game. It's a literal trigger effect. Okay, it's a literal trigger effect. So it says for him, after an attack is blocked, look at the top card of your deck. You may commit this card. If you do, draw one card. Otherwise, you may mill one. Okay? Then it says, if I decide to mill it, another response happens. After you mill one or more cards, this attack or next attack gets +1 damage. Okay? So this deck is kind of based around just milling on my attack sequences. That way I can continue to bring up the damage on my character cards. So the more that I mill, the more +1s that I can end up having. But then there's going to be those moments where I draw a card and I want to be able to keep it, right? But we do kind of want to go into the basics at this point in time. So let's just start kind of getting into the nitty-gritty. All right, so that's going to be like attacks. Okay, that's going to be difficulty cards, card names, blocks, card types, text box, symbols, and checks, right? There's a lot that goes into it. It's not as... It is very simple once you start understanding on how it works, okay? So then you have card types, right? So you got like an attack... I'm sorry, this would be an attack card, okay? So when it comes to the attack cards and the foundations, they're very similar. Okay, they're very similar. So right here, the number 4 in this type of situation, this number 4 is going to be a difficulty level. So that difficulty level means that's the number that you have to be able to reach to play this card. So if I took this card and I played it, well, I gotta check a 4. Okay, that's what we call. It's not milling, it's checking the card in order to make sure that you can play it. Okay. So again, one more time, this is a 4. I would check it. This card is a 5. So that means I can play this attack because I checked it. Okay? Then you have the card name, which in this case would be a redirecting push with a throw ability right below it. Okay? You have the number 5, which is the text box, and of course the text box is going to be everything that tells you that you can do on the actual card itself, what you can do, what you can't do, what it does against your opponent, for yourself, however that's going to end up working out. And then you have the symbols. Now the symbols are significantly important, okay? Significantly important. Now this symbol is an all symbol. It looks like a little cog wheel. The reason why I say that they're significantly important is because this is what I didn't understand at the beginning when I first started kind of going through the steps, is that you can mix and match your cards as long as your character card has one of these symbols. So in this case, this would be an all symbol, which would be this cogwheel, and then the star symbol, okay? Now, they all have their own specific type of names. I don't have those memorized, but it's a star, which means I could put star cards in my deck. I have an all symbol, so that doesn't mean that I could put all cards in my deck. I have to choose the all card symbols in order to put into my deck. So you can mix and match cards as long as that symbol is in that card, okay? By your character. You can't mix and match other cards, period. Your character card is your primary source of what you can and cannot play. Okay? When it comes to cards. So, 4 here. Oh, so I got a cogwheel here. One more time. You got your difficulty that you have to check. In order to check, you have to take the top part of your deck and play it. That's a 5. Okay. I checked the 4, so I'm able to attack. Okay. But that's the check value. Okay. This is the check value. This is the difficulty. Difficulty, check value. Difficulty, check value. Difficulty, check value. Keep that in mind. Very important. We kind of already talked about like character cards. You know, mine is a Leonardo, but there's some out there that actually have 2 sides to them whenever it comes to character cards. Just kind of throw that out there. They have their health. We kind of already went over that. And as far as the hand size, we went over that too. And of course the symbols. All right. Now the foundations. Now let's talk a little bit about foundations. Foundations are special. Okay. So if I were to get a regular foundation, which I don't think I have, but yes I do. Okay. So this one is called Leonardo's Discipline. We're going to take it all away and we're going to go ahead and show you this card. This is called Leonardo's Discipline. Okay, so it has a symbol of the enhance. It has the same symbol as my character, so that means I can play it, right? So foundations are basically your stamina, like I had stated. The more stamina you have, the more that you're going to be able to play cards. The less stamina you have, the harder it's going to be for you to be able to play cards, right? Now, most basic stamina cards, not stamina cards, but foundation cards. Most basic foundation cards, in order to activate it, you have to commit it. Now, what does that mean? Well, in order to commit a card, you have to be able to turn it 90 degrees, whether it's left or right, whatever you feel special about. You have to be able to turn it on its side. That is a committed state. Okay? That is a committed state, just to repeat one more time. This is ready to be used. This is committed. I used it. Okay? Ready, committed. Ready, committed. Okay? Just to clarify. And you can commit other cards too. There are certain attack cards that can be committed, but not all attack cards, because attack cards do not go into your foundation. Okay? You can only build one more time in your stage foundation, asset, backup, or character cards. That's it. Just throwing that out there. No attack cards, but we get more into that way in depth. We're just trying to get through the basics. So this is the basics. So one more time, difficulty, check value. If you're difficult, when you play the card and your difficulty says that, you have to check that amount, right? And then we moved on to committed. Committed, non-committed. Ready, committed. Ready, used. Ready, used. And in most cases, you can only use them once. Okay? You can only use them once. Now we go into attack, right? I was kind of showing you an attack card earlier. So we're going to go back to that attack card. Now we need to be able to understand zones, right? Understanding zones, what you can block, what you can't block, okay? So just to clarify one more time, you can either have a high attack, mid attack, or low attack, okay? Those numbers are based on the attack that's actually dealt. So like the damage, the middle number is what they would be taking. So if you increase that, you have cards to increase that, that's the type of damage that they're going to be taking. Now, when it comes to blocking, keep in mind, okay, when it comes to blocking, a high can be blocked by another high or a mid. A low can be blocked by another low or a mid. A mid can block either a mid, a high, or a low. If both are highs and you both block and you get that full block, or if you get that block, that's considered a full block because you hit it with a high. So if somebody came at you with the high, you blocked it with high, that's a full on block. However, somebody comes at you with a high and you block it with a mid, then you take half block. So half of that damage. You take half of that damage. So if it's a 12 damage, you take 6. If it's a 4, you take 2. If it's a 3, you round it up, so you take 2. And if you take 2, it's a 1. Half of whatever that damage is, if it's a half block. Okay? Very important to be able to understand. And then we kind of go into assets. Assets and actions. So actions are special events or abilities that can seriously impact the game, just to kind of clarify, right? So let's take, I don't know if I have any assets. Hold on, let me see. I might have an action and I might have an asset. I do have an asset. I have an asset. You know what? We're going to use that one as an example, right? Because I like that one. And then we're going to do a action card, and we're going to do an action card. Here we go. Right? So, action cards, they significantly change the game. Okay? So, action cards are special events or abilities that can seriously impact the game. Abilities of these cards are played from your hand. Okay? And you can only play them at specific times of the game. Okay? Basically, you can play them anytime that a similar ability can be played. So, like an example, right? Somebody uses an enhance ability. Okay, and we'll talk about enhances in a little bit. Enhance abilities on that action card can only be played during the enhance step. Responsibilities can only be played after the trigger is met, right? So if that action card, in this case, says remove, add 1 backup from your stage to your hand during the enhance step, I can definitely play that from my hand, okay? Assets are like tools, okay? So like in this case, we have Leo's katana. Leo's katana is Leo's weapon, right? So he can do certain things outside of his character with assets, okay? So in this case, let's just say after I mill this card, I get to bill it. I get to build it. So that means I get to put it in my stage, okay? And I can only play it if there's only, only playable if you have no assets in your stage. If I had nothing else and I milled it, right? I got it from the top card of my deck and I milled it, okay? Then I get to, there's no other assets. Then I just get to immediately play it here. I don't have to do nothing else. If there's no other assets, I could just play it here, period. As long as it was milled, okay? These can only be played from your hand. These are action cards. They are blue. Okay, this one's called Sneaking Home. Blue cards, action cards. I don't ever see a lot of them, but I'm still new. So I'm pretty sure there's plenty out there. Asset cards. Asset cards are basically a tool to help you win the game. To get you to do certain things throughout the game to give you a 1-up, right? So that's what both of those are at this point in time. Now, backup cards, we kind of already went over that. Backup cards, they can be used in certain situations. So they have specific health. Your opponent can attack them. You don't take any damage if they decide to use that ability. So now we kind of talked about like all the basics, all the understandings of certain cards, and we're just gonna kind of go to like a regular step, right? A regular step that you need to be able to do, like a start of a turn sequence, right? So you're ready to sit down and you're ready to play, okay? So there are some steps. There's your ready step, there's your review step, there's your draw step, okay? In that order. Now, beginners, you would definitely want to be able to acknowledge that if you're playing somebody that's a veteran. That way, it helps you understand what steps there are, okay? I don't care if you feel like, oh, you're going against somebody that's already a veteran, so you have to have this ego of going in like you know. If you don't know, That's completely fine. And you gotta be able to acknowledge that. You gotta, like, when I went into my first little event, I'm a greenhorn, right? I'm still a greenhorn. And when I walked in, there was definitely some people that were like, "Oh, a newbie." That's just their ego. The real people that love to teach people how to play, those are the people that were welcomed me in with open arms. I really appreciate Nolan for being there, because Nolan was actually the first person that kind of helped me get through my first match, officially, after reading the rules and trying to understand the best that I could. So I appreciate you, Nolan, if you happen to see this. Much love to you. But again, we're gonna go through like the turn sequences. One more time, your ready step. So during your ready step, you get all of your cards. Okay, so all the cards in your stage. During the ready step, you ready all the cards in your stage. So this is your first turn sequence. Okay, so in this case, you don't have to do that. So you kind of roll a dice. You'll flip a coin, or whatever makes you, whatever floats your boat. And whoever decides to go first goes first. So let's just say you're the one that goes first, okay? I'm gonna set up a situation, you're the one that goes first. So you look at your character and you say, how many cards can I draw? Well, in this case, Leo tells me I can draw 6 cards. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so we got 6 cards. Now, because you are the first person to go, you can look at your cards, review your cards. Okay, that's the next step. Review your cards. Are they cards that you want, or do you feel like you need more foundation? Well, in my case, let's go ahead and play my cards. I got 1 foundation, 2 foundation, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 attack cards. So now keep in mind, the thing about your first combat step is that you guys can't attack each other on your first combat step. So that's a plus. So this would be your opportunity to be able to build foundations. So currently, I can draw up to 6 cards, but 2 out of those 6 are foundations. So that means on my next turn, I'm not going to have enough to be able to not only attack and defend myself. Okay? So what do I need to do? Well, as the first player, you can actually look at your hand and say, I don't want it. Okay? Which means you would take the hand and put it underneath your deck for a mulligan. Okay? You can mulligan. And then you can choose to shuffle if you want to. Okay? So, just for shits and giggles, and again, this is not just based upon for kids, right? I am an adult here. Okay, so I will be cussing from time to time, so I do apologize if this is part of that. Warning, from here on out, you're not going to get a lot of it, but you are going to get some of it. Okay? So we're going to redraw our 6. We mulligan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we get 6. Now let's see, what do we got? We got 1 foundation. We got an attack, foundation, attack, foundation, foundation. Now that looks a little bit better. That looks a little bit better. Now, just so you guys know, during your first turn, the first player that's going to go, the person who went first, can actually mulligan twice. So if your second hand doesn't look good, you can actually mulligan twice your first turn. Now that's for the first player. Okay. Now, what does it look like if you go second? Okay, well, let's touch that base. I'm going to hit both sides in one video. So I hope you guys absolutely enjoy this. We're 40 minutes into it. Hopefully I have kind of covered everything so far. I know that we're not getting into enhances yet. We're not going into, but we will get there. So if you made it this far, much love. If you can do a shout out, if you can like, share, comment, and subscribe, because I want this game to get up there. I want this game to be into certain people's hands, to understand, like, there's a game out there for you. I wish there was a card game that you could play like a fighting game. There is. It's this one, guys. It's this one. So and I'm more than welcome to be able to answer any type of questions and help you be able to learn. So, continuing. Second player, same concept. Let's just say they had a Leo too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let me tell you about the second player. You get to go into your review step. Foundation, 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 attack, attack. Okay? Looking pretty good. 4 foundation and 2 attack. Check this out though. The second player gets to draw an extra card. Yep. Which means I drew a Leo's Katana. So now I got an asset. And then you go, well, damn. Well, but I kind of don't like one of these cards. It's cool. You can either mulligan, or you can pick and choose what cards you want to be able to get rid of and redraw those amount of cards. Now, only the second player can do this. And you go, well, how come the second player gets to draw an extra card, but the first player doesn't? There's a give or take here. So if you think about it from a certain aspect, if you didn't know this, you can mulligan twice. I got a crap hand, I want to mulligan. I got a crap hand, I want to mulligan again. You'll probably got something way better than what you did before. So they kind of made it even by letting the second player draw an extra card and by picking and choosing, because they don't want you to mulligan fully twice. You can only mulligan once or pick and choose certain cards once to replace. So let's just say hypothetically we want to do that. So I'm going to take 1 and I'm going to take 2. I don't like those 2. So then you get to draw a next 2. Wow, cool. I got 3 foundations, 1 asset, and 3 attack. Perfect, right? That's almost like the ideal thing. So now we're going to go back to player 1. Now at this point in time, there's really no need to go back to player 2. Okay? From what I'm thinking in my mind, there's really no way to go back to player 2. So now we're on the step that should be like ready. Okay? So together, what we can do is do this step by step. Okay? So, ready step. In ready step, there's draw up to the character's card. Okay? Keep in mind, if you are the first player to go, there is one thing that I did not mention because I just wanted to get straight into the rules. And now we can do that. So let's follow along if you're learning how to play. Commit your character. Your character is in a committed status. When it goes to a side, that is committed. When it goes into ready, straight up, that's ready. Ready, committed. First player starts in committed status to indicate that they are the first player to go. Okay? So then when your turn is going on right now, it stays committed until your next turn. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Go ahead and draw your hand. At that point in time, you want to hit the review step or the review step. During this step, you may discard up to 1 card before drawing for the... Oh, no, that's something completely different. We'll talk about that here in a second. I also have the rules just in case to make sure that I am explaining it to you correctly, because I like to do due diligence, right? So again, you look at your cards. In this case, let's follow by example. So for me, I have a Kuwabara. I got 2, 3, 4. I got 4 foundations and 2 attack. So I feel like I'm okay. Okay? I feel like I'm okay. I'm not going to mulligan. You can choose to mulligan. So if you choose to mulligan at this time just to get the practice in, mulligan, put them at the bottom of your deck, and then go ahead and choose an additional 5, 6, or whatever your character says. Okay? Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and keep my cards. Now, how do we play these cards? Okay? How do we play these cards? Well, for your first step, all you're doing is building. Okay, that's the combat phase. The combat phase. Okay, the combat phase is the next step where you start to play cards. So one more time: health, card pool up to 6 slots, deck, discard pile, stage. All of your other cards go here. Not attack cards unless the attack card says character. Okay? So, what did we talk about earlier? We talked about how the orange card is your check, is the difficulty. And in order to check your difficulty so you can play that card into effect, you have to mill 1 and check difficulty on the bottom right of the checked card. Okay? So here we go. I am going to look at my cards and I'm going to go, okay, a 2, a 4, a 6, and a 1. Now this is where understanding the card pool is. So when you play a card, because there's 6 slots, your check value increases by 1 every single time you play a card. One more time, your check value increases by 1 by every single card you play. So as an example in this case, okay? We have this card, High Spirit Awareness. I am going to play High Spirit Awareness. That is going to be a difficulty of 2. So I have to check a 2, right? I checked a 3. You take the top card of your deck and you mill it. One more time, we're going to go ahead and do that together. I'm pretty sure you got it. Just those who are following along, I just want to give you one more opportunity. You play that card, you check it, and when you check that card, or you look at the difficulty, you say, I need to check a 2. So you check a 3. Card played. Period. It's not an attack. You're only building. Remember, this is your first build step. Okay? This is your first time that you need to be able to build cards. Okay? So now we move on to our next one. Now we kind of know our cards, right? We kind of already seen what they are. So that's going to be a 2, 2, and 1. Those are my foundations. Those are the ones that I want to ideally play. So now, because the check value is going to get higher, and I'm going to show you how, you would want to, in my thought process, you would want to start with the highest check value and move lower down. That way you can get the most of your cards. Okay? So, we're going to play a check value of 2. Okay? It's Hungry for Pizza. I'm playing a check value of 2. However, there is a card behind my card. So that is a +1. Does that make sense? So you check a 2. Every card behind your card is a +1. So, and we'll show you how that works in a minute. So a 2, 3. This is a +1. 2, 3. I have to check a 3. Your difficulty went from 2 +1 is a 3. I have to check a 3 in order for this card to be successfully built. I checked a 3. Did that make sense? It's pretty clear. Now, we're going to play another card, Extra Cheese. Now, this is a 1. I'm going to play Extra Cheese. That is going to be a 1 +1 for every card behind this card. So 1, 2, 3. I have to check a 3. I checked a 5. Card played. Okay? Now, we're going to try to check this 2. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and play the 2. So that means I need to check a 2, 3, 4, 5. I know you guys are catching on. So we're going to continue. 2, 3, 4, 5. I have to check a 5. Okay? So I checked a 3. So what happens next? Well, at this point in time, because you could not check the card and bring it into play, not only does the card that you played goes into the discard pile, but your turn ends. Now, when your turn ends, per the rules, it says you have to either discard cards or build your foundation from right to left. So one more time, could not check. That card gets discarded as normal. This card gets discarded because you couldn't play it. And because these are your foundations, they move into your stage. Okay? There we go. We move into your stage. Then, at that point in time, you would move on. So then their opponent does the exact same thing. Okay? Now, currently, I'm sitting at close to an hour upon this recording. All right? So what we're going to do is move into like an attack step. And then once you learn this attack step, then you're going to be Gucci going back and forth. So if you guys both have regular decks, regular normal decks, starter decks, okay? They're $14.99. Then at that point in time, you would be able to go back and forth. Okay? There are some abilities on some of those cards that are on there to be able to understand what they are. I will be coming out with content each and every day next week to help better understand which cards do, which ones you can play, or a better understanding. I had noticed that the community has videos on these types of things, but they, as much as they're broken down, there are certain aspects that just don't explain to the T. So as an example, enhanced steps, blitzes, sacrifices, those types of things, it doesn't really go into deep detail. And I feel like I'm the person to be able to do that for the community. So I want to be able to do this for you guys, for you new players, for some of the players that wanted to be able to confirm some of the things that I'm talking about. You know, you want rule by rule play, you want updated rule book stats. That's how I'm going to be playing these, and that's how I'm going to be teaching these. So we're going to move on to our next step, okay? So they do theirs, and then we're going to go into our attack side, okay? So we're going to do 1, 2, 3. Oh, well, first, okay? Just so you guys can get into the habit too. You ready your character. At this point in time, when you ready your character, now you're able to move into your attack step if you choose to, like an actual full combat step. This full combat step is going to require attacks, foundations, etc., etc. But at the start of each attack step, you got to remember you do have 3 more steps before you actually go into like your draw step. So you have your ready, your review, and then your draw step. So don't forget, if your card is committed, if any of your cards are committed on your turn, commit them. They go into, or I'm sorry, uncommit them. They go into a ready status. Okay? So now you're ready. This is your indicator when the first player uncommits their character, we're a go. Like we're about to enter battle if you decide to attack your opponent. Okay? So, review step. Ready step, we did it. Review step. Look at your cards. Do you want one of them? I don't. I'm going to discard one. That's what the review step is. You get to take a card and you get to discard it. That way you can draw an additional card out of your deck that might help you better along. Okay? That's your review step. Now, beginners, acknowledge when your review step is, at least for me, acknowledge when your review step is, when you hit your combat step, when you hit your enhanced step, when you hit your... Please acknowledge these things. Because there are certain cards that do certain things on certain steps. It's very important. If you could see my face right now, you know what? Review it! Read it and say it out loud. Please. It helps us out significantly. Don't assume that it's a step that you gotta skip. I know I'm upside down. Okay, I know. Don't assume that. It is not that. Please acknowledge these steps because there are certain cards that we can activate. We can better explain how they work. Okay, you're gonna mess up our whole thing. I don't want you messed up either. And not only that, I don't want people coming after you. Right? People saying like you don't know how to play, blah 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 blah. I want to help you. Okay? So, anyways. Review step. Chose a card. Discard it. Now I draw up every single one of my turns. I get to draw up to my card size. So I have one card. I get to draw up to 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay? Crap. Now, in this case, I would probably build again. But we're not going to do that. We're going to acknowledge things. That way you guys can kind of understand what's going on. Now, this is all going to be in your attack step. Okay? It's going to be all in your attack step. So, as we know, you should already know your stage by now. Foundations. This is like your stamina one more time. Okay? So, your stamina is right here. You got to use stamina to be able to block, to attack, to check. Like, this is everything. So the more that you have, the better. Okay? You like that? Weirdo. Anyways, so right now, if I were to look at my hand side, I would go, okay, I got a lot of foundations that I can build at this time. So realistically, I would kind of want to build as much as I can. At least for this deck. For Leo's deck, that's how you want to be able to build. But just for training purposes, for learning purposes, I see a backup card. Okay? So I see Splinter. So I kind of want him to go out on the field first. That's just me. I want to secure that check for my backup. That's just me. You can play it however you want to, but this is how I would play it. Okay? And you're to be able to learn how to go back and forth. So even though that I'm playing it the way that I want to play, I'm still giving you those tools to be able to understand on how to check, how to pass checks, how to play certain things, right? So I'm just kind of educating as I go along. So again, his value was a 3, right? So one more time, Splinter is a 3. I got to check a what? A 3. Okay. I check a 5. I'm good. Splinter's there. Now, he doesn't attack. He doesn't do none of that stuff. Okay. He's a backup. So his abilities are going to be able to come into play later on. Now, we're going to get into that specific ability later on at a different video. But again, I just want you to show you how I would play it. So now, because I checked it, I'm going to go ahead and attack. Now, this attack, it's going to be a little bit hard to see. It's all green, right? But it's called Pizza Party. Now, the ability is the banger here, okay? The ability is the banger here. Now, I need to make sure that I play it. I need to make sure that I check it, right? So I gotta play it for a 5. One more time. His check is a what? Top left? That's a 5, okay? So 5 plus what? Plus 1 for every card behind that one. So the difficulty gets harder. So that's going to be a 5 and a 6. So I got to check a 6. Now, I don't have a lot of cards in my deck that have a 6. So let's check. I check a 5. I didn't pass it. Okay, that's cool. So what do we talk about, though? Your stamina or your foundations can be used to pass a check. So I checked a 5. So 5, 6, what's the difference? 6 minus 5 equals 1. I need to be able to check one more. Well, I'm going to check one of my foundations. I'm going to commit one of my foundations to pass that check for that one. Now my card is successfully played. Okay? One more time, we're going to back that up for everybody that's kind of watching, all right? I love teaching, man. I love teaching this type of stuff. It gets me so hyped. So one more time, you got a 5. I'm going to play a 5. Every card behind is what? A +1. So in this case, we got a 5, 6. I got to check a 6, right? So that's going to be a bam. 5. And what did we do? Well, because we couldn't check it, that means initially I wouldn't be able to play it. However, in order to pass that check, I can commit my foundations in order to pass that check. So I will be committing extra cheese for 1. That way I can do the 5, 6. Successfully attacked. Now I'm attacking my opponent for a 5 mid, 5 damage. Okay? 5 mid, 5 damage. Now, as I'm continuing this, I'm also teaching y'all as well, is that abilities. So this has a special ability attached to it. And this is where it gets interesting, guys. And this is where I'll probably end up stopping it. Because I just want you to kind of, well, maybe. I don't know. Let's see how it goes. But his ability is very special. So his ability, if you can't see it, says Blitz. Okay, it might be a little bit foggy, but it is Blitz. I guarantee you. Now, his ability says your rival commits. So they have foundation, right? They built foundation on the last one. And because they built foundation, they were able to... my thing is that I can end up, while I'm attacking, is that they can end up using foundation to kind of build, right? But this card kind of helps me. And I want you just to be able to hear the card. That way you can understand on how in-depth this game can get. Because just kind of reading this, when I first read it, I didn't understand it. But now that I know how it works, I can explain it to you. So we know that this is stamina, right? Well, there's cards that are going to be able to commit your cards in order for you to waste stamina. That way they have less stamina to block an attack, right? So let's just say hypothetically they had 3. Your rival commits X foundations and you gain X health. X equals the number of pizza cards in your stage and card pool. So, what are pizza cards? Well, those are key words. Okay? So, keywords, if you look at extra cheese, keywords are going to be right under the title. So, it's a pizza card. So, for every pizza card in my card pool up here or down here in my stage, I get to commit my opponent's foundations. I get to commit their stamina. So basically, I'm taking 2 stamina away from them. So that means this attack might be able to go through this turn, which means my 5 mid and my 5 damage might end up going through. Okay? So at that point in time, they would decide which one. What does it say? Yeah, my rival commits them. So they choose their foundations that they want to be able to commit. So if the card says your rival has to choose, they have to choose. If the card says that you have to choose, then you get to choose. It's very detailed, just like Yu-Gi-Oh, just like old school Yu-Gi-Oh, right? So if this goes through, hypothetically, and in this case, I'm just gonna let it go through. What happens is in this type of situation, because it's a step, right? So you have your combat phase. So your combat phase, I think that's the one thing that we forgot to kind of go through. So your combat phase, okay, is where we place attack, foundations, assets, and backup all in that one term. So you saw me play a backup first, which is okay to do, and you saw me play an attack next. You can mix and match these. Just to clarify. So you don't have to like play attack first and then play a foundation next. You can. It's all how your deck is revolved around. But keep in mind, every card before the card that you're playing is a +1. So the higher the difficulty, the more chances that you may have to commit foundations in order to pass them. So we now, once I play the card, it's successfully played, we now reach a next sequence, the enhance step. The enhance step is the fun step, okay? I'm going to repeat that. The enhanced step is the fun step. It's the fun step. Okay? So the enhanced step at this point in time allows me to be able to boost the stats. But you can't do it all in one turn. You have to take turns. When you reach the enhanced step, you have to acknowledge whether you're enhancing or you're passing that enhanced step. When you both pass an enhanced step, then you go into the block step. Okay? Excuse me, I had to burp. So in this case, I'm coming at my opponent with a 5 mid, 5 damage. Now, what did we talk about when it comes to blocking? A mid can block a high and a low and a mid. Or, I'm sorry, yes. A mid can block a mid, high, or low. A high can be blocked by a mid or another high, but cannot block a low. And a low can be blocked by a low and a mid, not a high, right? So the only two that cannot be blocked for each other is going to be a high and a low. A high and low are the two exceptions to where you cannot block each other. So if somebody plays a high and another plays low, you can't block that, period. Okay? So I'm coming at a mid. It's pretty general. If I do damage, it will be 5 damage. In this case, I want to make it as difficult as he can. Okay? I'm going to make it as difficult for that person as it can. So what I'm going to do is enhance my pizza party. My enhanced step. So I have an enhanced card. Now, depending on what that card says, that's what you have to do in order to get that stat boost. So in this case, hungry for pizza. Enhance. This is my enhanced step. Flip. So I would flip this card, not commit it. If the card tells you to commit, you commit. If the card tells you to flip, it flip. If the card tells you to sacrifice, you discard it into your discard pile. If the card tells you to remove, you remove it from your whole itself. Okay? So flip. This attack gets +2 speed. Period. So +2. So that's 7 mid. Next, if this attack deals damage, gain 2 health. Okay, perfect. So, it gets one more time, it's a 5 mid, 5 damage. +2 speed gives it 5, 6, 7 mid, now 7 damage. Now, why is it important to be able to increase the speed? Well, that's where we go into the block step. So let's do this. I enhance. I flip. We're at a 7-5. Okay? I pass, my enhanced step is done. You can only enhance once a turn. You're in the enhanced step, you can only pass once per turn. So you enhance, great. It's your opponent's turn to enhance. Let's just say hypothetically they enhance. It's my turn to enhance. Okay? So, etc., etc. So, in this, just for training purposes, okay, learning purposes, I enhanced, they didn't enhance. I come back over to mine. You know what? I'm going to enhance. You can do that because then it resets the enhanced step. So, flip. See, I would enhance this, okay? But I fucking can't. Okay, so this was committed. We're going to commit this one. Let's say I committed this one. Don't do this. This is not during the game. You can't backtrack. We're doing it for learning purposes. So, okay. So I enhanced. They didn't enhance. I can enhance again. Enhance. Flip. This attack gets +1 speed. So now I'm at an 8-5. Your enhance? No. They don't enhance. My enhance? No. This is the back and forth. Once we both say no one more time, then that goes into the block step. Okay? So no enhance. No enhance, no enhance. From the time that the first person says enhance. So even if I said no enhance, and they said no enhance, or they said no enhance first, and I said no enhance next, wherever it ends, that's where we go into the block step. Okay? So no enhance, block step. Okay. For purposes of you guys, we are going to move some of this stuff out of the way. Do not do this. And we're going to go into the block step. So I'm going to choose a card that's in here. Let's just imagine that this is coming at me, okay, for a 8-7, okay, or an 8-5, I'm sorry, an 8-5. So 8 speed mid, 5 damage, okay, 8 speed mid, 5 damage, okay. So let's just say your opponent has 3 foundations. So this is your opponent, okay? Example purposes. Keep that in mind. And you have cards in your hand, okay? Let me find one that's going to be able to give you a best example. Okay, so we got that. This is momentum. I'm pretending that this is momentum. Let's just say that they had this momentum, okay? You already know how to do the attack. You already know how to do the enhance step. You already know about certain abilities can be used at certain times. Like we talked about blitz abilities. We're going to go more in depth into that on a different video, but this is just so you can kind of get back to the back and forth, okay? So, let's just say they had all this momentum, okay? I still need that mid, okay? So, they're hitting me with an 8-5, okay? They're hitting me with an 8-5, and I go, fuck. Okay, 8. What can I do? What can I do? How can I block this? Okay, what do I have? All right, well, it's time to block. So we're just going to go straight to the block step. So each card, which we didn't get to go over because of this specific moment, top right. I'm pretty sure you've been noticing it throughout the game. I'm pretty sure you've been looking at your cards like, what's that? That number and that direction. So if we put them all together, let's show you. So if you look at them very closely, there is a mid, there's a mid, there is a low, and there is a high. Okay? Now, he's coming at me with a mid, right? So that number or that direction can be played. Okay, you're going to play a mid, you're attacking me for a mid, so I'm going to block with a mid. Well, what is that number for? Okay, shits and giggles. We're going to do 8. So in order to understand what you need to check, you're not checking a 2. What you're checking is the speed of the attack. So one more time, we're going to look at this card. It is an 8. In this case, it's a 5. Okay, it's a 5. We know that it's an 8. But again, shits and giggles, let's say there was no added shit onto here. So where I'm coming at you with a 5 mid. Okay, so you're going to take that number, the speed, high, low, or mid. That's your speed. High, low, or mid is your speed. Below it is your damage. So I'm going to be blocking with a 2 mid. So you take your speed and your block and you add them together. That's the number that you check. You heard that right. You take the speed and you take the shield number, add them together, and that's the number that you check. So in this case, I need to check a 5. Okay, I know we said 8. Too complicated to add because I'm going back and forth. I know it's an 8. I don't want to add them both for example purposes. So we're going to do 5, 6, 7. I got to check that 7. And I'm going to say it one more time for the people who didn't hear it before. 5 for the speed. So the speed, what's my speed? That's your high, mid, or low attack. That's the symbol that's on there. The symbol that gives you a high, mid, or low is your speed symbol. Below that is your damage. It looks like an explosion. Okay? Little explosion. So I'm adding 5 plus the shield on my top right of my card. 6, 7. Mid. Again, The top right card can have a high or a low indicator as well. Okay? So I gotta check a 5. Okay, I checked a 5, but I'm missing 2. Well, what did we talk about earlier? What can we do in order to check that value? Commit our foundations. 5, 6, 7. Now what happens? Well, because you blocked a mid with a mid, because you blocked an attack with a mid, that's a full block. You fully blocked that attack. You take 0 damage. Now, keep in mind, certain cards activate when a block is successfully completed. Okay? You look at those however you want to. We'll get that into a next video. So I successfully blocked this. So I take no damage, but it stays on my stage, in my card pool. This is still my card pool. Okay? That's you, the second player. The defender still leaves that card in their card pool. But it is considered a full block. Now, they come at me with a 5. We're gonna back this up, right? So they come at me with a 5 mid, but I decide to go too low. Too low. Anyways, too low. So 5 mid, too low. Now what do? Same process. 5, 6, 7. I have to check a 7. So we're going to do a 5, right? 6, 7. Okay? So 5, we check the 5. One more time. I will repeat it again. What happens when we can't completely check what we need to check from our difficulty? Well, we can commit foundations to fully get that check. 6, 7. We checked the 7. Now, here's the thing. It's not a full block. Do you remember why? I'll give you a couple seconds. That's all you get. It's because I'm blocking with it's not a full block because I'm blocking with the opposite of what the original attack direction is. So 5 mid to a 2 low, because it's a low, you take half damage. If it's the same block, if it's a block for block, full damage. If it's a mid for a low, half damage. If it's a mid for a high, half damage. If it's a high for a mid, half damage. The only time that it's a full block is if the card says differently, or it has to correspond with that mid, high, or low. I know that makes sense. I know that makes sense. Okay? At that point in time, you would then build if you are the first player, right? You can continue to build, or you can end your combat step. Now, when you end your combat step, that's where we go into the end phase. Okay, now the end phase, very specific. Very specific. So let's just say I played this, and this, okay? So let's just say I played all these, hypothetically. We know everything else. This is for a hypothetical basis only, okay? I check some values, that way I can make sure to keep some of these cards X, Y, and Z, okay? So now we move into the end step. Now, it's very specific on how the end step works, okay? So during your end step, you're going to clear your card pool from right to left. From right to left. Any foundations, assets, or backups go into your stage. Any attacks, unless the attack says otherwise, goes into your discard pile. So, foundation would come down here, foundation, assets, backups, attack cards. If they were successful attack cards, these are considered momentum. Momentum. Okay? We will talk about that here in a second. That way you can at least know that to be able to complete your beginning journey of universes. Okay? Momentum is your last fucking part of this of understanding. So because if this was not successful, discard pile. However, it was successful. So this would go behind your character card as momentum. Now, I want to make this very fucking clear. The more momentum you have does not mean you are winning the game. The only time you win the game is if you get your opponent down to 0 when it comes to their health. Momentum to me, when I first played this game, I thought it was essential. It is not. It is all based around the actual cards themselves and the character that you're playing. I will say, as long as I have been playing, I didn't understand how Leonardo was played until just recently. And now that I've understood it, this is almost up to date with the Challenger Series deck. Now, there are decks called Challenger Series, just a little side note. There's decks called Challenger Series decks that are out there that kind of give you like the high, like a very well built, put together deck, all ready to be able to compete. However, as strong as they are, my decks are already kind of at that level. So, and I'm very proud of myself. So you can build one in no time, like a Challenger Series level deck. But if you're an individual who just wants to play this for what it is, what you can do is sit there and just go out and buy a Challenger Series deck. They have solo leveling, they have Street Fighter, they have a Critical Role one. They don't have a TMNT one yet. If they do happen to have one later on, I'm definitely getting it. They have a My Hero one. And I think they have an Attack on Titan one. But those are the Challenger Series decks. Ghidorah, Rodan, those types of things. Okay? But keep in mind, just because you gained a momentum, you're not winning. You're winning if your health is higher than your opponent's. You remember that. Okay? So, the last part, that's it. So then you just repeat the process. When you attack, that's your time to enhance, until you can't, or until you choose to not do it. And then your enhanced tip is done. So, I'm sorry, let me restart. Just clarification purposes. Draw, as far as your steps go, you're going to go to your ready step, your review step, and your draw step. First steps. Then you go into your combat phase. That's where you play your attack, foundation, asset, backup, or character card. Okay? All 5 of those things are going to be in your combat phase. They all come to play into some type of way. Okay? Now, character cards like Leonardo, you can't have these. Period. You can't have these, period, because these are just character cards. But there's backups. Backups are the other character cards that we're talking about. So backups, if they say backup on the top, on the bottom right. So if you want to know what the card it is, bottom right. Bottom right. Okay? One more time. Now, I know that it's been an hour since we started this, so just a little bit of clarification. You can only mix match cards as long as these symbols, those cards that you're choosing, are part of that character. Okay? Just clarifying that. Minimum on a deck is 60. Maximum heard in a tournament, 3,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, 3,000. So, now momentum. Now, this is where we kind of get into the momentum aspects, right? The momentum aspect is going to be, what can I do with my momentum card? Well, let me find a card and then we will briefly get into that. Momentum card. Oh shit, I only have one card that actually does momentum? Maybe that's why I'm losing. I'm not losing horribly, but whatever. Okay, so a momentum card is a card that can be used to be spent in order to increase stats. One more time, a momentum card is a card that can be spent to increase stats. So we're going to take this one. This one is a forward flip slash. Now in this case, we have our character card with 1 momentum. Okay? Now this card can get a little bit complicating depending on how you're playing it. But I'm going to explain on how it works. So you have certain stats here that say EX, powerful, echo, you know, certain abilities that are there, and you're like, why is it yellow? Why is it green? Okay, well, echo, I'm going to take echo as an example. Well, I'm going to have to take them all three as an example because of this card. I was just going to show you one, but no, let's just go ahead and go all three, and that's it. Like, that's pretty much the game. Again, I will be coming up with other content, but we'll go from there. So Echo is an ability that basically states that you can reuse that card. So when you place an attack, it goes through, or if it blocks, or no, if it goes through, I'm sorry. Echo means that if the attack does damage, you can pick up the card and reuse it again for another attack. Okay? There's positives and negatives to doing that. You don't keep the stats from your last attack, so if you upgraded it, if you gave it +2 speed, if you gave it +5 damage, if you did anything to manipulate the original card printing of the card itself, that gets wiped, and then you have to play it again, right? In order to use Echo, you have to spend 1 momentum. Now, Echo, specifically, you can only do that once. So then, I'm attacking, I check my card for 4, I check it for 5, I spend a momentum before I attack. You have to do an enhance. Keep in mind, you have to do abilities, blitzes, momentum card, like momentum stats increases before the attack. Before the initial attack. You have to acknowledge it. If you do not, you cannot use it in the middle of the attack. So the enhance period. Right before the enhance period, there's also a period to use Echo to spend momentum. There's like timings in between them, and again, this is where my frustration is. I can go on for hours about this, but I need to break it up. That way you guys have something to kind of go off of. So, Echo can be used prior to the attack, prior to the enhance. It's a response. It's green. Responses are green. So response, I spend 1 momentum in order to use Echo. So when this attack does damage, I'm able to pick it up and play it again. That's what Echo does. Now, yellow, EX or powerful. Because they're yellow, that's enhanced. Okay? However, if it says EX or powerful, in order to gain it, you have to spend 1 momentum and whatever number that it says on that card, that's what you get to gain. So as an example, this one says EX2. EX is your speed when it comes to this stat. EX is speed. What is your speed? Your high, your mid, and your low. EX, I spent a momentum during my enhanced step, and I get +2 speed for spending a momentum. Each time I spend it, I'm able to increase its stats by 2. So if I had 3 momentum, 1, 2, 3, I gain 2 speed for each one. That's 6 speed plus his current 1. That's 7 speed. That's crazy, right? So if you build the deck around momentum and these types of attacks, your attacks and speed are going to go through the roof. Same thing for powerful. Powerful would go for, it's pretty self-explanatory, your damage. Your damage. So that's +2 for each momentum I get to spend. So I spend a momentum, he gets +2 damage. If I spend 2 momentum, that's +4. If I spend 3, that's +6. 6 on top of his 2 would be 8. It can get crazy powerful. Now, your goal in order to win the game is what? Not to have more foundation, not to have more assets, not to have more backups, not to have more in your card pool, but to not to have momentum. It's to make sure that your opponent reaches 0. 0. Period. And that's it. Rinse and repeat each and every turn until you reach 0. That's how you're going to be able to win. That's how you're going to be able to understand this game. And again, the possibilities are limitless. Like, if you understand from this video and you're using a starter deck, continue it. Continue the grind. But if you feel like you understand it already, go buy a challenger deck. Then you'll kind of be on par with certain individuals in the community. Now, if you kind of want to know where some of these events are, how you can kind of get a part of the community, how you want to be a part of this specific game, if you go to the website, universus.com, okay, we can actually do this together. So check this out. So, I'm going to move this over here. I am going to move my camera up right now. I am going to flip this and make this correct. If I can. Do that. And then we're going to do that. Right? So, yep, you get to see my ugly face today. Again, I want y'all to see that not everybody has to be pretty on these things. You know what I mean? Anyways, so let's go over to the universus.com. Okay? So I was already on their website just to kind of go through the rules. I already knew the rules, but I just wanted to make sure that I was explaining everything to the T, because a lot of these videos are out there. They don't really do that. But if you want to kind of see what's going on in your area, what you can do is actually go to the Universus tab, find a store, and you can kind of see who's carrying Universus in your area. Okay? But it goes a little bit more deeper into that. So if you actually wanted to go to events, you can actually filter this. Now, the filtering fucking sucks. Let me just let me say that right now. The filtering kind of fucking sucks. But you have like regionals. You gotta pay to kind of be in regionals. And yes, there are regionals. It's that big. And keep in mind, it's been around for some time, right? So I'm gonna choose a zip code here in San Antonio. I don't know. No. I know it's a good populated area. So we're going to do 78238 in that area. That's Bandera area. The radius, I'm going to do 25 miles. Now, it's very important to be able to unclick this. You have to unclick it. It's fucking stupid. Hey, Universus, I love y'all. I'm excited to be able to making content around all this stuff and getting more in depth with the game. But fix this. Like, you force me to look at regionals, and I don't want to see regionals, right? So click on this, take it out. So, check it out. Upcoming locals, Friday night local combat at Combat Power, Sunday locals. Is there anything for today? What's today? Today's the 31st. Look, there's one at 7:30 p.m. Sunday locals, dude. I think I might end up going. I don't even know where this is at. Where is this? Black Potion. That's pretty cool. But then you have, you know, over here in Friday locals at CP Collectibles, Black Potion. See, there's not a lot of places here in San Antonio, right? Or in Texas, at least where I'm at. But you have standard tournaments. And in these tournaments, you can win cards. And they just have them all. Whoa, what's this? Store championship. Really? So there's a champion of that store. Look, there's certain things that I didn't even know. But this goes all the way out until January 9th of 2026. So they're holding these events almost every freaking weekend, you know? Organized play weekly, store scramble. I don't know what that means. But if you click one, right, it tells you exactly the capacity, how long the rounds are. It is a 2 out of 3 if you want to be able to kind of know those rules. Tournament rules, there's really nothing to it as far as tournament rules. There's nothing too crazy about it. You know, if you just kind of... See, that's what I'm saying. It's a little bit finicky sometimes. It's kind of weird. But it tells you where you can go and how you want to do it. If I wanted to do, I don't know, New York. If I wanted to do New York City, 25 miles, I take that off. Look at all this. Manhattan. Dude, it's all in Manhattan, bro. That's wild. Oh, wow. They got y'all, don't they? They got y'all for money. $5 just for general free play. That's wild. That's crazy. It's kind of wild in New York, I guess. I would play $5 for locals. I like the fact that San Antonio does have a pretty good amount of days, and they're all just free. Unless it says otherwise, it's all free. Yeah, I don't see anything else. Except for maybe this one. Capacity 32, tournament of 32 people. Check-in time 6 p.m., 7 p.m., blah, 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 blah. And then you can register if you want to. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a really good game. I suggest you to check into it. Let friends know, tell your friends about it. If you want to play on here, the Discord is pretty cool too. I can show y'all that for a quick second. And that's just the Universus Discord. I am going to come here. This is their community Discord. You have everything from a general chat to a standard to a beginner's assistance. And so far, look, there's people that actually play in there. And I play in there too. I'm trying to get used to the... So if you're a person who has Steam and you got a PC and stuff like that, you can buy, you know, you don't want to spend a whole bunch of money right now. You can play the game on Tabletop Simulator, and there's a way to generate certain decks. You can actually generate all cards and make your own deck if you choose to as well. I still recommend the 70-30 split. 70 foundations, assets, backups, character card, along with the other 30% for attack cards and stuff. So, yeah, that's what I suggest. But again, the actual community itself, so far everybody's been okay. There are some people who do bail on you, but that's not their fault. It's just, look, I know it's shyness, you know, people are just kind of posting their lives in there. You know, it's people being shy. You know, I get it. I totally understand. I'm just an outgoing individual, but you'll catch me in there. But of course, you could also join our Discord. Our Discord is going to be Del's Den, where I'm going to be setting up events. I go into there sometimes. I just opened up this new Universus right here. Yeah, look. Yep. This is a good person that I've been playing with. Really good, outgoing individual. But yeah, it's a really good game. Community has been fantastic. I want y'all to be able to play and understand it yourself. And I hope you guys have a fantastic one. It's been a great stream. Any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Don't forget to check out the additional social medias down below. And don't forget to go check out the Instagram, because that's where I'm going to be at. I'll be posting whenever I hit up a specific store. Tomorrow, no, I believe on Tuesdays, I will be doing a local meetup at a company called TCG District. It's a small little card shop. I want to kind of bring some light to that area because it's really down, it's really chill. So it's just one of those types of things. But I love y'all. Y'all be safe. Y'all take care.